In the year 3434 of the Second Age, a great alliance of elves and men assembled in defiance of the Dark Lord's will to conquer all the lands of Middle-earth. The High Elves, the Blessed of Valinor, who suffered the greatest wraths of Sauron and Morgoth the enemy, now seek to ensure that his evil is forever banished from the world.
Hail and well met, everyone. Captain Deadeye is back with you with another intro video for the High Elves this time. First time I'm playing a High Elf. I actually decided to create a female this time. A little bit different pace than normal. Or a little bit different than I normally do. I normally do all male for my classes, but I thought, or races, but I thought this time I'd do a female. So yeah, we're doing a Rune Keeper. I've never played a Rune Keeper either. So yeah, let's get started and see how this goes.
My dearest friend, as Sauron surely knows, the mastery is ours in this battle.
Azrael, you seemed as if lost in a trance, and I could not rouse you until this very moment. My dearest friend, do not allow the enemy to cloud your thoughts with visions of defeat. As Sauron surely knows, the mastery of ours is in this battle. The mastery is ours in this battle. Alas, a cornered foe is the most deadly, and there is none more treacherous than the enemy in this realm. We must put our troubles behind us for the moment and press our advantage. King Gilgalad has summoned us, Azrael. Let us go. We have been called upon the armies of all peoples we could, but it still may not be enough. King Ryok the Oathbreaker and his treacherous kin have fled into the mountains. And Durin has only sent a few hundred of his folk. Hearken to me, elves and men, the time for debate has ended. Sauron sows only division among those who oppose him. Now see what it has to be done. Now see what it has done. The kings of Lorien and the Woodland Realm pressed their forces into certain defeat, and why? They allowed their pride to blind them to the enemy's treachery. Sauron is swift and to twist the pride and fear of his foes into weapons of his own. The men of Nuramor and that remain in this realm know his treachery all too well. Indeed, the fates of Numenor and Eregion are tragic, but Sauron's wrath has only grown more terrible with those dark years. If we fall to defeat in this battle, we'll never again be able to force to oppose him. The Dark Lord gathers strength anew beyond the Black Gate. We must throw down the people of Morannon. Only then shall Sauron himself be forced to atone for the evil he has laid upon our peoples. We must put an end to his evil before... A distant horn blows as a scout rushes down from the nearby hillside. High King, riders approach from the Morannon. From beyond the Morannon. It is a mirage assembly, only 9 in number. Might the enemy seek to parley at last? A meager, excuse me. Sauron does not wield his servants as ambassadors. Allow them to ride forth unhindered, but remain on guard. We shall meet them in the field. So we know who the 9 are. At last, bearers of the 9 rings reveal themselves. The Shadow Kings, the Gwythirain, they have returned out of the darkness. Elrond, Círdan, Glorfindel, and here come the Nazgul. Ah, Elf King, the accursed faithful. My master has bidden me to deliver his terms. Terms? Have we assembled such a great alliance that your master now seeks to surrender? Sauron the Great speaks not of his surrender, but of yours. Speak then, servant of Sauron. I am no mere servant. You speak to a king of men and lord of the Nazgul. That's better. We can see a little better. Sorry about that, guys. Nazgul, do you no longer speak in your own tongue? You are no high king. You are no king. The ring you bear has seen to that. Silence, Elfrinch. These are his terms. Celebrimor crafted 3 rings in mockery of his design. You will surrender them and swear oaths never to again come before the gates of Mordor. You would be wise indeed to accept his kindness. And if we should accept, what promise can he give that we shall not again make war against us? He offers none. Peace cannot be made with Sauron. Such an offer is merely another of his lies. Go now, flee to your master and tell him that his doom approaches. So be it. Sauron the Great has stayed my hand for the moment, but his patience is nearly ended. It is you and this pitiful host who should flee. For soon no shelter, no matter how well hidden, shall be free of Sauron's dominion. Alright, so they're running back to Sauron. Azrael, speak to us.
With Sauron's demands rejected, we can no longer hold hope that the Gwytharan shall stay their hands in this battle.
Azrael, before the Nine arrived, I sent the Spears of Lindon with a garrison of elves and men. Sent forth the Spears of Lindon. With Sauron's demands rejected, we can no longer hold hope that Gwytharan shall stay their hand in this battle. You know the spears of Theroron, Magoril, and Durnaith, my friend. They have stood by my side in many great battles against Sauron and the most terrible of his servants. Ere they departed, they swore to cross the enemy's trenches and dismantle their siege equipment. It is true enough that catapult shot has not hit our position in some time, but the wider front has been brought to ruins by these very tools. You must now be my scout and messenger. Learn what has become of their garrison, and if any yet live, deliver them a message of hope. The Alliance marches upon the Black Gate, and no men or orc shall stand in the way of our victory over Sauron. Alright, so let's go. So I have done this intro before, so I sort of know where to go. I did it just so I have an idea what it was like. Alright, so I'm sort of figuring this out. Let's see. So every time I attack, I get a little attunement here. And the higher my attunement, I can do better strikes like this lightning strike. So I need to start with that. That seems to be a... Wow, that's like a one-hit kill. Sliffy now, this way. The Spears of Lindon had held out against Sauron's forces, but they fight a desperate battle. Here's Durnaith.
One of
Speak
the
quickly,
Gwytheran
friend. Our
rode
foe
westward
surges from
and
the
scattered
east.
our
You
numbers.
tell Darnaith of your
The
encounter
other,
with
he
Gwythrain
took Theleron.
and deliver the High King's message. The Gwythrain, 2 of our numbers, passed through our garrison from the north. One rode westward, scattered their numbers, but the other he took Theleron. In the midst of battle, he caught Theleron's sword arm and a cruel coil of rope and dragged him eastward. He fell by his fell steed. I could not follow him through the mess of orcs. I failed him. I failed the High King. I must still fight on. Hail, Azrael.
And let us hope
Hail,
that the
Azrael.
alliance shall
Another,
arrive to
I
drive
am
off the enemy's
Megorl of Linden.
forces.
How fare the battles of the north? You tell Megorl of your high encounter with Gwythrain and deliver the High King Gilgalad's message. Gilgalad. If we shall truly strike at the Black Gate this day, the alliance must soon come hither. We did as the High King commanded and brought the enemy's weapons to ruin, but when Gwythrain appeared, many slew many of our numbers and divided our forces upon the Dagorlad. The faces of which I knew Gwythrain when we first took the rings have long faded. When they first took the rings have long faded, but this one I knew by his blade. The cursed rider is called, and he has goaded his steed onward over the backs of elves, man, and orc alike. Regrettably, we were forced to retreat before we could aid many of them from the field of battle. Now we struggle to hold the only path over the great trenches, and the enemy's forces have brought forth trebuchets and ballistae upon the Dagorlad. Aid the wounded in the field, and let us hope that the alliance shall arrive to drive off the enemy's forces. So basically, I just need to kill these guys around the wounded elves. There we go. Alright, so we did that. Thranduil, Prince in the Wooden Realm. There is no escape for you. See you now, fate of those who defy our masters. Our master, the Dark Lord, holds no power over me, Wraith. Be my fate sealed or not, the arrow shall fly true. My arrow shall fly true. Fool, wills can be broken. Thranduil of the Green Wood, and the blade shall see to that. This blade shall see to that. That's a big-ass spider. The accursed spawn of something. You think to threaten me? Sauron shall not forgive her this time. Oh, so they're on my side. Stay back. I'll leave you in peace for what you have done. Okay, I guess not. Okay, so as I build that up, the more damage it does. Okay. You have rescued Thranduil from the Cursed Rider. Here's
The
Elrond.
prince is fortunate to have survived his father's attack on the Black Gate, but the Gwytheran's words trouble me.
Gwytheran. The rider spoke a name in the Quenya era he departed. The Spider Queen. Ungoliant is gone from this realm and shall not trouble the world no longer, and shall trouble the world no longer. But her children remain, preying on anything that they can devour and spreading her darkness through Middle Earth. One among them must now hunger as she did, without a care for powers of the Dark Lord and without purpose other than to consume. These are unhappy tidings, my friend, and even if it seemed fortuitous that the great spiders turned upon the rider, if we do not face the child of Ungoliant in the war, it is certain that the day will come when her hunger shall seek to sate itself beyond the shadows of Mordor. The High King gave me leave to pursue you in the urging of Spears of Linden, and he has called that you return at once. He has called for your return at once. The Alliance has come to a forward garrison at last. Reunite with them there, Azrael, and make ready for our assault on the Black Gate. Alright, so let's head back and talk to the king. Next we go west, we go over here, and then that's pretty much the end of it. There's a little bit of a short cinematic, I think. I'm glad to see you again, Azrael. Dernath and Mergoriel has told me of Theraloran's captures, and I am troubled by such grim tidings. The Dark Lord would have not soon forgotten the wounds he suffered at our hands, and I fear what form his vengeance might take. Even now, I wish to abandon my duty. I cannot turn my eyes from the Black Gate at such a crucial hour. Thus, I give you a mission of dire importance. You must find Thelaron, and you must save him from the Gwythrain. As for the Alliance, and one of Durin's folks has devised a cunning plan to draw the attention of the Dark Lord's forces, allow it for a swift strike against the Black Gate. In truth, I know not if this plan shall bear fruit. We must conquer the Black Gate if Sauron is to be defeated. Conquer the gate if Sauron is to be defeated. I would ask that you speak to Slagar the Crafty. He is an honorable enough dwarf despite his chosen title. Once you have done what he asks, pursue Gwythrain and rescue Teleron. Our paths are now divided, my friend, but let's hope each of us will lead to victory. Each of them lead to victory. May the light of the Valar shine upon us. Right, so the dwarf is over here. Oh, he's right here. At your service, Azrael, or perhaps you are at mine. Have you considered how the enemy's trenches never seem to stop burning? Well, I have. Slagar gestures to the pile of barrels beside him. Sorry, guys, I'm going to turn my music down just a little bit. It's really loud. That's better.
At your service. Or perhaps you are
Those barrels are filled with a crude black powder that explodes when exposed to a flame. Not only that, it burns for hours afterwards. If it were more useful in stonework, I think Durin himself would have stilled some away. The Dark Lord's Black Riders, the damned ring wraiths, as the men call them, are wily enough. They are goblins, but these goblins are none too bright, and they've left the barrels right next to their own ballista and catapults. Why don't you set some of them off? That ought to put an end to their siege and draw their attention long enough for the Alliance to reach the Black Gate. Just make sure you don't stick around once you light them. Alright, so we're going to cause a little diversion here. Let's see. Shows another quest over here. Huh, strange. Alright, so I gotta blow up these barrels and then get out of the way before they hit me. I wish these points stuck around because I wonder if I could blow it up with him on it. That would be hilarious. And that thing is powerful. What the heck was that? Like he evaded it. That did it. So if you notice, we're not leveling up, and the reason for that is because we're boosted to 110. We'll actually level up later once we come out of this area. I think we started like level 5 once we exit the starting area of the intro quest here. And we use the same starting area in Aaron Loon as the elves. Alright, so we kind of clipped inside that ballista, but that's okay. Alright, now we have to follow these hoof prints. Hoof prints, not hoot prints. That's kind of cool. We do a little roll when we land.
Your tale troubles me, my friend, for Amroth spoke of a terrible figure that passed with an elf slung across his steed.
Azrael, I'm gladdened by this reunion, but there is little else to celebrate. The High King has sent me and my company eastward to learn what has become of the Elves of Lorien, but alas, only Prince Amroth remains upon the field. His father and the others are routed to the north, but where have they gone? Where they have gone, we cannot follow. The prince is injured, but we will heal in time. He will heal in time. I must ask, though, why have you come? You tell Harthalan of the task given to you by the High King himself, and of Thalaron, the lost spear of Linden taken by one of the Gwithrain. Your tale troubles me, for Amroth spoke of terrible figure that passed with an elf slung across his steed. Time may grow short for Thalaron, my friend, and it is time that we learn more of what the prince saw. Amroth, can you tell me of my companion about the rider you saw? As much as I do wish to recall him, I can. Do not wish to recall him, I can. From what you have told me, he was one of the 9 Gwithrain, garbed in black and seated atop a great steed. I know not if he still lived, but an elf was limply swung across with Gwithrain's steed. He lifted aloft a great mace, and with a crack of thunder his master's statue was toppled. And then he looked upon me, and remained what beneath of his hood sniffed madly at the air. There was sorcery in his gaze, I tell you, for his eyes were of flames and void. Perhaps he thought me slain, for then he rode on into the hills. No, it cannot be. It can be no other. Hilgoth, the Witch King, has taken Thalaron. Be wary. The men of the east who slew my father have an encampment in the hills, and there he must have gone. It is there he must have gone. Thank you, Prince Amroth. If the men of the east hold the hillside, then we must go by secret steps. When the company came to Prince Amroth's aid, I heard a great cry and thunder of flapping wings from above. It sounded something terrible. Flying creature great in size as the eagles. I could not spy it through the smoke, but I am certain it lurked beyond my sight. I do not know what this creature is, a servant of Sauron's, but its presence makes me fear all the more for Thalaron. If the Witch King has taken him to the Overlook, we must pass through the Easterling encampment ahead. The men of the East have grown arrogant against Sauron's might, and they have left a small passage in their encampment open to the woodlands. Follow me, and we shall sneak in and avoid the dangers of their approaching gate upon the road. Sorry if you hear my son in the background, guys. We laid him down for a nap, and now he's not wanting to nap. So he is running around his room. So looks like it's going to be a no-nap day. And for those of it there who are parents, you understand what I'm talking about. Okay. I love how these guys keep I don't know, they're something's weird. Go, Azrael, do not worry for me. See, it's like they're, I don't know. The Witch King's steed thrashes wildly at your approach. He and Thalaron must be nearby. These are a lot of steps. Good thing I have a lot of stamina, I guess, as an elf. The Witch King. You come too late, servant of Gil-galad. Your fear has left you defenseless, and the elf has been borne away by the winged beasts of my master. The Elf King will never see him again, for he will suffer evermore in the dungeons of Barad-dûr. But you, Azrael, you shall be changed, and you will return to Gil-galad as his greatest foe. Such is the will of Sauron. No, we've been stabbed. Such is the will. Oh, I've already read that. Suffer now. Arise anew into the realm of the unseen. Can it be? How did it mumble a mote? Lord Elrond, Azrael has woken at last. Rest easy, my friend. You are safe from harm in Imladris. The wound has healed, but Azrael remains in need of rest, Hartholin. Rest well, my friend. I shall return in... You have awoken at long last.
It brings me great joy to see you upon your feet once more, my friend.
After you fell, we attempted to heal you upon the battle plain, but the Witch King of Angmar had dealt you a grievous injury, unlike one I have dealt with my peoples by the hand of the Dark Lord. The decision was made to return you to Imladris, far from the lands of the enemy. You suffered for years in restless agony, as my healers worked to free you of the evil that lingered in your wound. When the war was ended, I returned to aid them, and learned much more of the healing of foul wounds of Morgul steel. When at last you could rest, you did so for many long years. Despite my efforts, your strength has diminished greatly. It will take you a great time, but I believe you shall again know the power that lies within you. As for the task given to you by Gil-galad, do not consider it a failure, Azrael. None of us could have foreseen the enemy's malice in sending the Nazgul to seize Thalaron. Tragically, he was never found. Even after Barad-dûr itself was brought down brought to ruin. It wounded Gil-galad greatly to lose you both in the war, and it is said that the light dimmed through all the battles that followed. Even so, he did not falter before the enemy. No, you did not fall in vain, my friend. Our victory on the battle plain that day bore fruit indeed. Sauron resisted our assaults for 7 years in the Dark Tower, but in the end he was cast down by Gil-galad and Elendil. Elendil's son, Isildur, cut the ring from Sauron's finger, destroying the Dark Lord and banishing him from this realm. Alas, there is more to be said on these matters. Walk with me, Azriel. You remember the war as if it was yesterday, do you not? You are one of the few that remain in this realm, and I can recall it as I do, my friend. I come here often to reflect on the sacrifices we made in that war. Indeed, Gil-galad and Elendil defeated the Dark Lord, but they did so at the cost of their own lives. The realms of elves and men were thus changed forever changed, and the world passed into the Third Age. And so it has been for many years now. I do not wish to alarm you, Azriel, but it has now been 3018th year of the Third Age. Even as much else has changed, and Imladris is as you remember it. You have borne many burdens in your time, my friend, and so I shall give you leave to depart to the Havens if you wish it. There is another who sustained a terrible wound in the war. Hithgal is his name. Perhaps, since chance has woken you today, perhaps he too can be healed of the enemy's wounds. See if he has woken from his long rest, and then we shall speak more of your journey to the Havens. He's over here on this bed. Despite appearing outwardly healed, Hithgal seems to be in a deep, uneasy slumber.
Much has changed since we last traveled together from Imladris, my friend.
It is unfortunate to hear of Hithgal's continued ills, but I hold hope that he shall soon recover as you have, Azriel. You see, when the battle came at last to Barad-dûr, Sauron himself felled Hithgal with a deadly blow, and it seemed only the grace of Valar that he was not at once ended. Even still, the steel of the Dark Lord was tainted in such a same way that the blade that pierced you, and he has suffered as its effect as you did for many long years. Now then, we have spoken enough of the past. Let us turn our minds to the days ahead. Much has changed since we last traveled together from Imladris, my friend. It seems now an age of men, and I sense the time of the elves in Middle-earth draws near to its end. Indeed, many have departed this realm for the uttermost west by the ships of the Círdan, our friend of old. He is now called the Shipwright by those who know his works. He dwells in Mithlond, with a few that still remain in his service of skilled crafters. Much of the wood used by Círdan is ferried to Mithlond by way of the port of Cellendem along the Erinlund. It is there that you must journey to reach the Havens. Azriel, I have gathered your belongings and a few supplies for your journey, and I have set your ring in its case upon the table across the room, and your armor rests in a chest beside your bed, at your bedside. It is still marked from battle, but the time has not worn it elsewise. Indeed, the passing of an age has dimmed only our light and given rise to shadow in the east. Concerning such matters, I have also prepared you a tome of writings on the history of the Third Age thus far. You are free to claim them ere you depart. Once you are prepared, speak to me. We shall speak more of your journey to Cellendem. There, so we've got to gather our things over here. And we're missing... Oh, here it is. Alright, so... let's see.
Eladon and Elrohir
Very good,
are to follow
Azrael.
an
In time and
expedition to
strength,
the ruins
in
of
time your
Extended,
strength will return, my friend,
they
and the
shall
power of
seem
your
to
ring shall
come
rise with it.
in the
I
course
hope
of
my
their
writings prove to
travels.
be of use to you as well. I recount much of the time has passed while your wound healed, but even I cannot be aware of all that has transpired since the end of the Second Age. As for your journeys, my sons shall see you to Celendem in their course of their own travels. Eladan and Elrohir are to follow an expedition to the ruins of Edilion, led by the elf Doralis on my behalf. Speak not of this to any outside of your company. But I had a strange premonition, and it is in the midst of filled blurred visions a voice rose, saying, blood-red footsteps upon snow-covered black, where the Dour King walks to take back his throne and finish what was begun. It is a troubling riddle, my friend, and one that I do not think soon solved. Have you thoughts on any of this, on its meaning? You have a muffled creak at the door, and to Thamsend opens. Ah, it is just as well. Troubles best left to Doralis and his expedition. My sons await you by the door to the central courtyard, and when you are ready to depart, they shall guide you to Celendem along the Aran Loon. May your journey be swift and free of hardship, my friend Namare. All right, so let's see. What are we going to take? I'll get to choose one of these. I'll take the runestone, I think. I can't use the other two. It's weird it even offers it to me. Alright, excellent. So now we can leave.
I am certain
So Father has
has
at last given you leave to travel from Eladris. Azrael, I must say, I am excited to learn more of the battles of ages past from you. Father has told us not to bother you with so many questions, but it is likely our last chance, is it not? I am certain Father has told you about our journey ahead, but do not worry, the matter of his dream need not trouble you. Besides, the journey of Celendem shall give us time enough to speak on the other matters. I would think the events of the past 3,000 years would be of some interest to you. My brother and I stand ready to set out from Aran Loon. If you are prepared, we shall depart at once. Alright guys, well that is the end of the intro quest for High Elves. And like I said, we're already at level 7. Like it pops us out at level 7. We have tons of gear to put on. So yeah, I'm going to get started with that. And then we have a couple little things to turn in here. Basically, we'll pick it up here next time, most likely. We have to decide whether we're going to travel to the Grey Havens and leave Middle Earth, or we're going to stay here. So we'll do that next time. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. I really, really appreciate it. I know this is a pretty long video for what it is, just an intro quest, but it's one of the intro quests that we needed to do. So yeah, we'll play this High Elf later. I do appreciate it. And until next time, guys, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next time.